Sean O'Malley faces his biggest challenge yet against UFC bantamweight champion Aljamain Sterling tomorrow night. And I'm picking O'Malley, and here's why. So Sean O'Malley, meteoric rise, outstanding striker, big following. I think each one of those things impacts his ability to compete tomorrow and furthermore down the line. I think Sean's talent exists outside of like just fighting. I'm a genius. Now I'll get to what I'm talking about with the outside the octagon playing a role inside the octagon in a minute. But right now let's focus on like the statistics, like the data we could look at. O'Malley took kind of the boxing protecting your record path, you know. He fought tin cans, as they say, but he fought them and destroyed them. You could look at all his highlights. I mean, I think he has like 11 knockouts, and I don't know how many fights he has, but it's not that many compared to 11 knockouts. So the majority of his fights he has finished with knockouts. And even if you're fighting, you know, tin cans, that's still impressive. So people are still, you know, talking shit about him being like, oh, it's doesn't deserve to be there over someone like, I don't even know who you would say, Marab, but Marab's a teammate. I don't even know. But just like he doesn't deserve to be there because he's fighting tin cans and he's a padded record because the UFC kind of shielded him, which they kind of probably did, right? They did that with Conor. They do that with people that are marketable. They do that with people they know that they could like make a lot of money off of. But that doesn't really matter if you can't, you know, go in there and like win the fight. It doesn't really matter. And Sean can. And I think he will win tomorrow. Oh, it's so interesting. It's so crazy. So he's also fighting for his first 5-rounder tomorrow. Like he hasn't competed in 5 rounds. I don't think that will be that much of an issue. I think, to be honest, that probably leans in his favor if he doesn't get finished by Aljamain, because Aljamain's path to victory is either choking him out early or late, it doesn't matter, but I mean, or just controlling him for 5 rounds. And controlling someone for 5 rounds is difficult. I think Aljamain's good at it. It's a specialty. Human backpack, they call him. It's a really cool nickname.
Yeah, you better win your fight because I'm coming on your ass, boy.
I mean, we haven't really seen Sean's grappling ability outside of like some takedown defense against Petr Yan or, you know, scrambles here and there. So his grappling is like a little bit of an unknown. He competed outside the MMA rule set and like in a grappling contest against Takanori Gomi. I think that's how you say his name. And won. I just dropped my pen. And won via, what was it? Was it guillotine? Guillotine? Maybe? I think it was guillotine. Because he has long arms. He has long, like, he's like lanky, has long arms. That's good for like snatching up necks on a takedown. He's good at takedown defending. You saw that in Petr Yan fight, although Petr Yan's not nearly level of like grappler that Aljamain is. But ultimately we haven't really seen him, you know, grapple outside, like scrambles here and there, and then the Petr Yan fight, which he did well in. But, you know, for tomorrow night, Aljamain, all it takes is one mistake, and then he's on your back for a whole round. But honestly, I think Sean could give up 2 rounds because he's hoping for a knockout, and I think there's a high likelihood he will get that. And with the way Aljamain, you know, operates, he's a little, I don't want to say sloppy. He's not sloppy, but he's scrappy. He's always moving, and so is Sean. And the power differential, I imagine Sean will have a harder hit. Sean has more weapons standing. But you see a lot of times with the strikers going against the grapplers, the weapons get neutralized because of the fear of the takedown. You saw like everyone against Khabib, like Gaethje against Khabib. He was throwing leg kicks, but like he wasn't being his usual, you know, aggro self. You could attribute that to him, you know, trying to mature and not get more brain damage. But I think he was probably scared of a takedown. So here's where I think Sean will have an advantage where other strikers versus a really good grappler wouldn't. I think I've dubbed this like the full or the jester versus like the hero, or in Aljamain's case, like the anti-hero, because people, don't like him because he got kneed in the head, and people, I don't. I mean, I get that. I thought that was. I feel like you shouldn't be able to win a belt off that, but you know what, dude? He's good. He's really good, and he seems like a cool dude.
Because I'm coming on your ass, boy.
Dude, MMA fans also kind of suck, honestly. Like they do like this, they say such like dumb things, but that's a different story. So Sean plays this like fool character, this like jester, with the hair, the tattoos, the videos he posts on like Instagram and all that shit of him like smoking weed and being at practice dummies. He's really funny. He's really good at like making you underestimate him. But I think he does not underestimate himself, and I think he actually trains a lot harder than people probably think. I think the secret to that is his coaching, Tim Welch. I think that's a very interesting part of the narrative that people are kind of overlooking when it comes to Sean versus Aljamain, or Sean in any fight. Because when you compare Tim Welch's coaching style, his corner advice, compared to other UFC coaches, there's a big difference. I think Tim is highly invested into Sean. They've been together since the beginning. They live in close proximity to each other. They live like isolated. They live in like fucking Arizona. There's nothing to do. It's just like hot. And I think having a young guy who Sean can like respect as a peer, but also a coach, I think that is an interesting dynamic for him. I think it works for him because he's kind of like party figure, whatever. But he knows how to ice it and put it on hold and like really train. I see similarities between like Sean's coaching and John Jones' coaching. Like they read into their opponents. They make adjustments mid-fight. Not every fighter does that, which is, kind of weird, honestly. But it's also, people have different styles. Like I've been listening to interviews with Tim going on people's podcasts and talking about like just the references he'll throw out of like watching out this fight from Aljamain and seeing how he moves his head there, and like, and not even like a way that where he's like discussing it, he just throws it out. Like it's just already in there. So I think they really study, and I don't think Aljamain is doing that to Sean. In all honesty, I don't think they're approaching it with the same level of like minute detail. I also think it's interesting how Sean approaches like press conferences and formal media. Like he's very reserved. He's very quiet. He's kind of not. Or maybe he's like shy, or maybe he's just high. Honestly, he's not really saying shit. He's like kind of sitting there. He has sunglasses on every time, open shirt, same look. He's really good at like marketing himself, but he's not saying anything. And another thing in regards to like the marketing aspect, I think largely that affects his opponents more so than him. I think people are so like other UFC fighters. There's kind of two different classes. There's like the traditionalists, and then there's kind of the new meta emerging, which I think is super interesting. And I want to talk about this more and actually like look into it. But there's within the traditionalist class, there's like people that are like Chito Vera, like keep your head down, grind, and make your way to the top slowly but surely. And then there's Sean, who's like, you for sure grind, but like skip the unnecessary parts, like skip the like, I want to fight the best guys. I want to fight like Corey Sandhagen. There was like talk amongst them like Corey Sandhagen, critiqued Sean for that, and that he was saying, I want to fight the best guys. I'm a true martial artist. I want to be, kind of like money doesn't matter. Like I'm here for the purity of the sport, and that's cool. But not everyone wants to do that, and then the people that want to do that are holding that image of themselves and projecting onto other people, and I think that like they'll get mad at like someone like Sean for being like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna do the thing that's like will make me the most money and push me to the championship the quickest, or in the best, or maybe approach it from the best angle, maybe not the quickest. And so I think that creates like resentment among fighters. And it's mental. Having those thoughts approaching your fight, like he doesn't deserve to be here. It's like that's where things get like dangerous, because you start underestimating, you start overestimating your ability, where in reality people are just taking different paths. And that's people get knocked out. So I do think so. I'm always excited to watch Sean because of how he kind of like plays this like dumb character, not dumb but flashy, um, extravagant, flamboyant, and he performs well every time. Like he's never disappointed. You know, outside of the Cheeto era win over him. So I think like the anti-traditionalist approach works in his favor because it's so in line with his character, and it grinds against other people around him, which doesn't really affect him and affects them more, you know? So I think he just has so many things working for him. And on top of all of that, he's an elite striker, like truly true. He's like a ninja. He's like a fucking ninja. Like what's like the spinning kicks into another kick, like it's just insane. Like the combos he's throwing, how quick they are, how fluid he throws. Um yeah, he has so much going for him. He has so much momentum. He has so much. He's the crowd behind his back at all times. I think it's interesting. Obviously, Aljamain's dangerous, but like I think he's approaching this fight. I think he thinks it's going to be easier than it is going to be, and that misperception of like your ability compared to your opponents is that's the it's a game of inches. Like if you're a little off, it's like if you're thinking you're getting a takedown and then you get a knee in the head, it's like I don't know. I'm super excited to see how he faces the grappling. I know he's gonna get. I mean, obviously he's gonna get taken down at some point, but really it's like, but then, but I think ultimately the fight's gonna be. Obviously he's gonna get taken down. He's gonna get, you know, at some point he might have his back taken. That would be a bad position. But I really want to see if he can recover, if he submits to the round. Um, I'm just interested. I'm very curious. I love watching him perform. I think he knows how to generate spectacle, and I think he has a long way. He's 28, like he's still not even in his prime, and that's cool because I think because of how young his team is, they're gonna have the opportunity to like adapt his game so much to like rising styles, to countering other people's styles, and like building up a huge like foundation, covering weak spots. Like he just goes out tomorrow and gets like choked in the first round. That'd be brutal. That'd be brutal. It can happen. Though. It's crazy. It's crazy. Um, but yeah, man, I'm excited for this fight. I'm excited for the fights to come. I think it'd be awesome to have Sean win, then a rematch with Cheeto. I would love to see that. I love Cheeto. I love watching his career. But yeah, I think Sean. I think Sean will catch him eventually. I mean, he has 5 rounds to do it. You know what I mean? It just takes one mistake for each of them, and it starts standing every time. On the takedown, Aljamain has to be careful. Getting up from a takedown, like on a scramble, he has to be careful. He has to watch out for a knee. He has to watch out for a kick. He has to watch out for a hand and elbow. I don't think Sean has to watch out for those things off the scrambles, off the takedowns. He just has to worry about defending it. But yeah, man. God bless America. Who do you think's gonna win? Why do you think they're gonna win? How old are you? What's your social security number? You know, all that stuff. Put that stuff in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time, and I love you.